Welcome to the ReVision Podcast. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, ReVision Podcast is a platform for creatives to come together to discuss creative topics and issues. So if this is something you want to keep on watching, make sure to subscribe so that you can keep up with the following content we'll be releasing. So on today's episode, we'll be discussing what goes into making a great album. We'll be joined by Legato, FlexTheNinja, BrianBC, Hippy Bambino, and Stevie G DJ. So before we get into the episode, I'd like to give a shout out to TheBreadCrumb. TheBreadCrumb is where we'll be shooting today's episode. If you don't already know what TheBreadCrumb is a local eatery based in Broadhurst where they serve loaded fries, burgers, and great food. You guys should really check them out. They're really cool people. So with that said, let's get into today's video.
So you know what's crazy? Like, us getting to this podcast, the very first conversation we had was Tabz saying his album wasn't received well. And now Brian has a question and says, how do you make a great album? That's the craziest thing ever. Because one man there is saying his album was not received well. Is it because it wasn't a great album? Or is it because it wasn't pushed well? When you came up with the conversation, what was your thinking behind it?
I genuinely wanted to release good music. And I've been inspired by so many people. Tabz being one of them, actually. So obviously, before I wanted to commit to making an album, I wanted to get with like-minded people who I think would have reference to this topic. And I wanted to ask, what do you guys think? The experts, the OGs.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
The OG
goes into making a great album?
You're going to answer that.
I think we'll dive into it.
Yeah.
Yo, when somebody goes to your OG, it's like a nice way of saying, hey, you getting good old, bro.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm an OG. I can't say that, but for someone who's still learning, I think an album, what makes a great album to me as someone who listens is the experience. Like, how am I experiencing this particular artist? And for me, it goes beyond just the album, like just the iTunes. Like we're speaking with Wayne, how before you drop the album, that's part of the album.
True.
After you drop the album, how you perform it live is part of the album. I only say this because I'm a big fan of Kendrick Lamar. And it's like, the more I saw him perform live, the more I liked specific albums. Even the Untitled, when they dropped Untitled, I didn't like it. I was like, the mix, obviously because it was throwaway tracks. But then when he performed on the Stephen Colbert show, Untitled 8, I was like,
What does the Indian say? Is it that one? What does the Indian say? The Indian says,
that's the one. So I was like, oh damn, actually I now listen to the unmixed version. And I'm not hearing the problem I heard before. So I feel like an album encompasses the whole thing from pre-rollout, how you sell it, because it's almost a product, but it's also an experience. It's like going to Disneyland. What makes you want to go there? It's people who are like, yo, I went to Frost. I saw Frost live. Yo, man. Now I'm going to download the album. You know what I mean? So I feel like to me that's a should I say a general.
But let me ask you this.
Details.
Let me ask you this. The voice a rapper uses, like the flows and stuff, or the sonics, how they sound, does it make you rate him any less or any higher than one other artist? Like, take Questa, for instance. He's got that deep voice. Take Kendrick, for instance. He's got that gory voice that he uses sometimes. Does it make you have a different opinion on how he sounds?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily, because everyone has a style. I'd say maybe if I can say Kendrick's style is my favorite when it comes to how he will when he's changing how deep something is mid verse, he will literally like get more angry and be like, to me that like it makes me experience it more. So I'm not saying that Big Sean is any less because Big Sean will, keep should I say monotone kind of thing. It doesn't mean it's just.
Why I'm asking you this is because specifically with Kendrick, like when he does that thing that he does, I'm like, my brain just switches off and I'm like, can't stand this.
Because it's genuine, right? He's trying to portray an emotion. Right? So how do you do that? How do you get people into the headspace? how do you get people into the headspace where they're supposed to like, you know, feel what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's such a hard thing, man. There's lots of people that are like dope technically.
Yeah.
Like technically, like this guy can write this line from here to this line here, but they don't make you feel anything.
Yeah.
Like they could even have hits, bro, but you don't care about that person at the end of the day. But then there's artists that you're like, hey, this is my guy, dog. I don't care if like 2 people listen to him or 5 million people listen to him. That's my guy. Why? Because he can convey a certain emotion.
Yeah.
And for me, an album is that there, like he's saying, it's a holistic approach to like whatever you're feeling in that moment. I should feel all of those things at the same time. And that's what makes an album great, I think.
I think also to add on, Kendrick is more of an MC than a rapper.
Yeah.
So MCs, from the time, you know, DJ Kool Herc, the duty or the role of an MC was to get the people going. You know what I mean? So it's like he has managed to like combine the two in today's artistry. Like,
I get what you mean.
Where it's almost theater. Actually, it is theater. It's audio theater. I'm listening, and if there was no music video for All Right or all these songs that have music videos, I still see something. You know what I mean? And I think that's the idea.
What do you think about what makes a great album?
In that case, like what Flex said with the experience, when you're listening to something, in your head, you're naturally picturing what's going on in the song in that person's mind. Like in this case, which song can I give a perfect example of? Okay, we'll use All Right. You're there, and when I wake up, it's like it's invoking the whole experience for you. Even before the video comes out or whatever, you already start feeling certain things that by the time the visual comes out, your excitement is already there because you already started playing something like, oh, when I wake up, I'm recognizing looking at me for the baker. You know, that kind of thing. So the experience in every album, I think, that's true. For me, that's the main thing. When you're looking at an album, probably 12 tracks long, even if it's not telling a story from track 1 to track 12, each song should have an experience that someone should be able to feel when they're listening, because that's what attaches you in the first place to the artist.
Yeah.
Because you feel like there's a certain level that whatever they're rapping about, you're relating. If it's Coco, in this case by OT Genesis, thank you. If it's Coco, there, you don't do cocaine. But you already get that feeling like, I'm in love with the, you know, that kind of thing. Because the energy, with the same concept that you were saying of the voice, where your voice can play a part, actually plays a major part.
It does.
Nowadays, because there are certain ways that you have to invoke the feelings. Sometimes, like you said, you could be tactically skilled and have the same flow, but then I'll feel it more if you add some certain level of emotion to it. When I wake up, like, you know, I'm feeling you waking up because I know that, hey, it's, you know, even that kind of thing.
Even like the thing he's saying about like with the I'm in love with the Coco, like I don't do cocaine, but I feel it because like every artist has to have a perspective. Right? I might not be going through what you're going through, but I can feel it if it's genuine with you. And I think some of that you can't really like, you can't replicate that. It's either genuine or you don't have it at all. You know? So if you're just lying, people think that I'm too deep and like want to talk about deep things all the time. Yo, my dude, you can talk about shaking ass, but if you talk about shaking ass in a way I like to talk about I like that too. I like that too. But hey, everybody has to be themselves, I think.
True. I think, like he's saying, the authenticity is also what
I was just about to say the same thing.
The first, like, it takes it a further mile, because I'll give you an example of Earl Sweatshirt. He, to me, is like one of my favorite rappers.
Okay, but who's that?
Earl Sweatshirt. He was in Odd Future.
Okay.
Odd Future with Tyler the Creator. I feel like he's one of the sickest like rappers. Like, even he can go toe to toe with Kendrick. The only difference is where Kendrick has the upper hand is the fact that there's that artistry element. But so even Earl without the artistry element, I'm like, damn, this guy really is authentic. Like, where he's saying, I broke up with my girl because we didn't argue enough. I'm like, damn. That's, you know, like, to me, that's deep, because I don't know, you know, I wouldn't do that, but
it's good to hear that idea. That idea, it seems like
for him, for that to be a genuine thing for him, and for him to like,
you know, you've seen that
understand
it. Tyler now. There's this song, what's it called? It's from his latest project, where
he's telling the girl like, oh, you look malnourished. And I'm just like, whoa, bro, who says that as a punchline? That's crazy. But then you know that you're looking forward to that part in the song. Every time it comes on, if this nigga was to perform at an event like Perfect Noise, you know that if he's performing that song, you're waiting to look at a girl like, oh, you look malnourished. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. And that's his personality, right?
That's his personality. That's the thing.
That's why, okay, for example, Odd Future, that's why they blew up, because they had these, crazy outlandish skits, and that was, everybody was just themselves, right? And then it also came through the music as well. You're like, I can attach those two things together. That's these guys.
Doesn't feel disingenuous because like, now you are lying to me, or people are not.
Because you can also hear the cap in the raps if they skip in the raps.
Yeah, you know what I mean. There's also, like even outside of like cap in the raps, there's also like the future projective, like
I get what you mean.
Like, like future tense, like I'm gonna be. I think Kanye West is an example of. It's not happening now, but I'm speaking like it's happening. Because the day you listen to it, it will be real and it will be still me speaking.
I think that's fine. I'm not saying like guys shouldn't talk about like money and stuff, like if you don't have it. No, but like even when you do talk about it in the future, like you're saying, I need it. Don't just tell me you want it. Why do you want it, man? Like, why do you want it? Attach things that are actually real to it, even if that thing has not happened yet. Like, yo, my grandmother's in a wheelchair. Well, bro. Go get your money. Now when you just lie,
we know why.
So are you getting answered as these guys pitch in on what makes a great album?
From the way I'm hearing, it's like, it has to be personal.
Yeah. For starters, because art is personal.
Art is personal,
And then it has to be centered not just around the music, but it has to be emotions. Like, you can't just...
And whatever emotion doesn't mean go be super deep. It's just like it has to be.
Could be a
real
party emotion, like let's be hype, but put your emotion in it.
I think also it's like what do they say? Art is a result of experience. So if you don't live your life, how do you expect to make a great project?
What if you're not comfortable? Like, what if you're not comfortable just putting like
so it's
those kind
of music is not comfortable at all. So art is not comfortable
at all.
Art is completely art is like saying I'm going to be like, I think when I started uploading on SoundCloud, it was like, damn, I could listen to these beats on my own. But I'm like, let me just throw them on SoundCloud and see what people think. Because it's like it's no longer
just for you.
Just for me. Even though it could be a vulnerable moment. It's like this vulnerable moment is not for me. Otherwise, why are you doing music?
Exactly.
Like, make music for yourself. And also, it's like knowing exactly what you would want to talk about. Like, obviously, you wouldn't want to talk about certain things at home. But that's why I'm saying it's like you live your life. Like, Frost will say, yo, let's go to Spain. Then we go to Spain and we see Spain, and then we come back and we're like, yo, the people in Spain think this way. And now I'm like, you have a different perspective on a particular topic, and you can now expound on it on the album. Like, how culture, marriage, you learn about. So it's like all these things. Yeah, like experience does make a great album because people are experiencing what you're experiencing. Even as a producer, like in as much as like I'm not writing words, he's saying, yo, man, I wanna, talk about this. Then I know, this is the thing that makes me feel that particular thing you're talking about.
It sounds like this.
It sounds like this. You know what I mean? You can write on this.
That hi-hat.
We should also talk about like the difference between different types of projects, right? Right. We're just talking about album, but there's EP, there's mixtapes, there's whatever. Some
even
guys now it's like I have a playlist. It's not even an album, right? Yeah. So we should talk about like for me, mixtape is just like we just recorded this stuff. Hear it. EP is like these songs are good, but it's not a concise thing. It's not one worldview over lots of topics. It's like just like lots of good songs that are well produced, better produced than the mixtape is. Album now is like you have to make sure it's well produced. You have to make sure it's well engineered, and it has to have a theme. The theme doesn't have to be, like he said, like a story from track 1 to the end, but it has to be some realm that you're putting me in. Right? It's like Jay-Z's Magna Carta, when he went to like the whole Grease item, the whole example. Back in the day arts and whatever. It was cultured, right? That's the theme. Doesn't mean all the songs sound the same or they're about the same thing or it's a story. So if you do an album, make sure it's concise.
True.
Cohesive.
Cohesive,
Cohesive.
Okay, now then there's this question that I have. You have a project ready, it's an album, you have all the tracks ready, and then it comes the track selection or track listing of it. How big a role does that play in your experience of the music, and how much of a role does it play as an artist and as a producer?
For me, I always write songs with an idea of where they are in the project, if it's an album. Even the last project we did with Lost, we went kind of knowing the general that, okay, it might be 3 or 4, but it's in the middle. It might be first or second, but it's at the beginning. It might be 10th or 12th, but it's at the end. And I always write knowing where these things are going to go. But I think it does matter. I think it does matter.
It really does a lot.
I think it's like, so there are different approaches, like even on a song by song basis, like where with his project, we sort of had an idea of what's going to be talked about, where it's starting from and where it will kind of like end.
Is this the journey or the experience with
So in between, it was like, you knew, okay, so we know it's starting here, you know, if he talks about the character development of what led to song 4, then song 4 is talking about what happened then until how that will give a what I can say, background story to why track 8 is the way it is.
I get what you mean.
So there's that approach.
I need to go listen to that.
You need to go listen to that. Okay. There's a track October 2nd, right? I'm talking about like loss and stuff. And I'm just like, I heard that death is like freedom. The next track is freedom, right? I did that on purpose with a specific idea in mind. And that's why it helps. And that's how people like connect to something.
True.
Because even if you don't get it, like unconsciously you're getting it.
True.
It does. I felt that way. And it was genuine, you're going to feel like that. Go ahead.
I was saying, so you go into writing, like you'll go writing knowing that this is going to be track 7 and I'm going to put this line in order to hype up track 8.
Yeah, sometimes. And sometimes it just works out beautifully because it's all genuine anyway.
True.
Sometimes I just find it happening. I'm like, oh.
Because like how I was going to say is like with POV, with Vizo, the difference is we were just making tracks. There was no direction. But then when sequencing, like after 2 years, because it was like 2 years of just making tracks, some songs would throw, some songs, and then eventually it was like, oh damn, these songs flow, you know what I mean? Talking about loss, like the song Too Late, it's like, you know, it's too late to already, like these things that happen, you know what I mean? Going, and it's like, we didn't plan on it being the sequence for it to be that way, for it to work as an album, and the way we were making the tracks, you wouldn't have thought it would come out that way. So it's like there are many ways to approach it. Like sometimes with people we say, okay, we're starting with the intro, and then we're gonna make track 2 next. We're gonna make track 3 next. So there are people where I've done that way. We start on the intro, we make it, and then what's the next song?
For real?
I can't do that.
So it depends on the artist. So I think with him, we just said, let's paint the overall view. So even as sound-wise, we know if we're building the sound like this, if the chords are using a purple, you know, like if you see music, we'll keep it purple till the end.
I love that way. Your music has a color. Like,
it does.
Music has a color.
It does.
It's the reason why people say, okay, why do you feel so blue today? Right? It's sad, right? Music has a color.
Singing the blues and stuff.
Can you expand on this, like in terms of like, what do you expect, right? Being somebody that's in like, you know, merchandise and design and stuff like that. What do you expect from a project in terms of how it visually looks?
When it comes to merchandise, you've got the project. Like most artists that I would work with, I'll tell them that send me your songs. So whenever I'm making a merchandise, I tap into whatever you are feeling. Like, for example, if we're making point of view merchandise, I'll say, give me the whole project. Then I'll be listening to it track by track. And eventually things will just start flowing like that. I'm someone who likes to tap into the space of other people so that I know exactly what I'm creating. And even when I give you, it's not just a thing of, oh no, you're just going to sell from here. It should be a thing where you're connecting to it. And whoever is getting it is
also connected.
Because the moment they wear it, they're just like, yeah, I feel this. And even when they're listening and they're out there, they're like, yo, that's
what it's attached to.
Exactly. There's that attachment I try and create. And I expect to see that attachment even when I'm listening to your music, because I'm like, I can't make something that you're not going to...
That you don't understand.
That you don't understand. You have to connect to it. I have to connect to it as well.
I never thought about it like that. That's nice.
With track listing. Track listing, one artist that I look up to for track listing is Tory Lanez.
Yeah.
For me, all his projects, there's a way he places stuff where the moment he goes to the next track, you even know after listening to the album the first time, you're like, you know which track is coming next if you're playing it in a car. So with track listing, it is important. Mm-hmm. Yes, there are times where you can just throw stuff, you know. Like, but so long as you know what goal you set when you named your album and said, okay, my album is probably gonna be called Boneyard, right? For example, it's gonna be called Boneyard. What theme have you set around Boneyard? So that even if you're not following it track by track, your songs are just following the theme of what you wanted to portray on the album that
about
you're
the Boneyard.
Yeah.
I was about to say, like, usually when I'm listening to albums, at least me, I'm a weirdo. Let me just put this out there. But for me, a good album is where you can portray a theme and I can shuffle it.
Exactly.
And I can still get it.
Exactly.
Like, regardless if I'm playing it like from top to bottom, I can just press shuffle and I can still feel like, I feel like that. I feel like...
Here's how I feel about that, right? Mm-hmm. You know what you're saying? It's like saying, like, if you had, like, sushi, right?
Yeah.
And you wanted to, like, take the wasabi and then eat that first and then eat the sushi. And if it's still nice, that means it's good. Cool. You got 80% of it right. Right? 80% is fine. Yeah. Like, if it's quality, it's quality.
Yeah.
But you might miss out on what somebody meant if you don't play it from the beginning.
No, I feel
something might go overhead.
But again, I feel like that goes with the artist that you're listening to. Because there's some artists where...
They don't care.
I think they can just like go... Example, even with your music, you would know that you have to listen to it from track 1 to the last track. Like no skip. As it is. Because you're like, nah, there's a story. If I skip it, then there's something like you'll feel...
Like
you'll
you
be
won't
like,
understand.
there's something I missed out. But if you've got someone like maybe Ozzy Teddy, where you can just switch from 3-star, then go to I'm a star, that kind of vibe. It just really depends on the artist.
Yeah,
for
like,
that.
I think J. Cole is an example.
Exactly. Perfect.
Forest Hills Drive.
Yeah. You can just skip it.
I mean, yeah, you can skip it, but for me, it's like the story made sense.
It's with the, from track 1 to the last.
Yeah, like it's the one album where I play in sequence. But like Kendrick Lamar, damn. I can even... The fact that you can play it in reverse and it still makes sense. Yeah. That's also what's crazy.
Damn.
You know, it's just... yeah, you know, it's those albums where I can play loyalty, then go to...
I remember syrup sandwiches and crab allowances.
Yeah, so it's... I think it depends on what the artist was trying. But also, at the end of the day, even though you make an album, people will consume it how they want to.
Yeah, that's fair. It's their money.
As a DJ,
it's their money, you know.
That's why you made that album.
Sometimes I get an album and I'm like, you know what? This album would sound better if I changed it up like this. And my track 1 is maybe track 7, because I feel like there's a certain story or there's a feel or there's a flow. Because there's guys who'd give you a hype song, a mellow song, a sad song, hype song. I'm like, guy, why not at least elevate? So maybe have it sad, maybe then mellow, then hype. Then, if you're gonna do something, maybe it's half hype, half mellow, or something, check. But when it's just haphazard, I'm like, yo, guy.
I think, my comment on that is that it's a traditional way to look at music, because it's also limiting. It's like saying, hey man, there's no pre-chorus, there's no bridge. This song is not the one. There's no third verse. There used to be a thing in hip hop. No third verse. The song is not finished.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah. I mean,
word.
Word. If you guys remember that 2007 era where you knew there was a third verse coming, if you paid attention,
usually like a feature as well.
Yeah, it was usually a feature.
My only thing is that's okay as you curate your own, you know, like on your Apple Music or Spotify. Like, okay, let me curate. But like, as an artist, it's limiting.
I get what you mean.
To say, let's use the format that 50 Cent was using. It worked for 50, but it might not work for me.
Exactly.
I get what you mean.
Because it's like saying, hey man, there's no bridge. But maybe we finished the song and we found everything we needed.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I get that.
It's like, why is there a third verse if we feel complete?
True.
If fulfilled.
No, I get what you mean.
Yeah. At the same time, it's like, what's the difference? The difference between art and artist intent, right?
Yeah.
That's the difference between the two. Art is consumed however the consumer takes it, right?
Yeah.
You interpret me however you want to interpret. People have like misquoted me in songs, but they love it. I'm like, okay, fine, take that. If that's what you got from it, then cool.
Yeah.
But that's not my intent. My intent, I'd love to tell you my intent is, but if you take it and it means something special to you, even if I didn't intend that, that's still hard. That's still hard. That's still powerful.
I get
the message still goes.
Who am I to take away your $10.99 from you? You know what I mean?
$10.99.
Yeah.
I feel you.
You're still getting answered, right?
Yeah.
So we've touched on promo, which is before, after, and before the drop, during the drop, and after the drop.
Yeah.
We've talked on sequencing. I don't think we've talked on the mixing and the mastering level of it, but there's guys who have great albums, but the mixing and mastering isn't all that good. Where does that come, and what role does that play?
As I sit back and listen.
So
it's our time to just
in the notes,
go Flex.
I'm taking notes. So in the notes I wrote, it's like, you know, even one of the reasons why I would spend money on a Neumann microphone, like just to give a prefix, it's like recording is one of the major important things. So it's like a lot of people would record in a trash way.
That's so
like, not that you're not dope, it's like you're recording in a trash way. There's noise, you can hear the noise floor. Like in every room there's something we call a noise floor. It's like that natural noise in a room.
Yeah.
And the microphone picks that up.
True.
The cheaper the microphone, the more
picks everything up. Yeah.
The more expensive, the less.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also how you treat your room. So I feel like number one, you know, bullshit in, bullshit out. That's like.
Can I like give the nigga version of this? Nigga version is, have you had a nude from a girl with a Samsung? Compared to an iPhone, like her body is banging, but it's a Samsung. This nigga, the ingredients are there, but it's a Samsung. Hey, this one got the news, dude.
That's crazy.
But you feel me, right? Yeah. Like her body's the one, but it's like, yo, it's not adding up. You know, you not capture it. It's the E250 one.
But yeah, it's like, so yeah, looking at that analogy, it starts from recording. Wow. But then even before recording, as producers, sound palette is very important. Like you can be an amazing composer, but your sound palette, like how you sound design, could be very whack.
Yeah.
I used to be a whack sound designer. Like my beats were dope, only because I was a musician before, so I understood where things would fit, but I didn't understand how to mold the sound digitally. Yeah. You learn that over time. So sometimes people have whack drum kits and your song is supposed to pump
but
a certain way,
chose the wrong drum
but it's
kit.
not pumping that way. So even me as an engineer, I can't help you because that sound is what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
As an engineer, it's like, as a mixing engineer, that your job is to balance things out, not change anything. So I can't be changing FlexTheNinja's kick.
As the mix engineer, also now part of this body of work, now say, yo, bro, this is what I think you should do.
Yeah, but a lot of times it's a thing of energy. Like energy in studio initial time, everyone in that room, like all of us right now, we make a song and we're like, yeah! You know what I mean? Yeah. But maybe I didn't pick the right drums. And then it's like, when I change it, because there's demo-itis, it's like, man, you've changed the drums. The song doesn't feel the same.
Doesn't get the same.
Even though changing the drums makes it better.
Yeah.
So these things affect artists because it's like, damn, I heard this song the way it was. You know what I mean? But now it's changed. So we have a song, it's Found. Found was recorded on a
completely different beat.
Yeah.
Then after a while, I was like,
yeah.
Everything is fine. But
poor Dato. Dato came to studio and like, we like went to a hotel and we just like, let's record here for like a day, right? So she came through and she recorded and she heard the song the first time. And then Flex just decided, you know what?
Changing the drums, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, for me, in as much as I made the initial version, I was like, the way things have connected, it's not the version that will work now. So I have to change it. So a lot of times,
you made a whole new beat.
Yeah, he did. He really did.
A whole new beat.
And you know what? To be fair, it came out so much better because like the song was like it was like guitar. It
was
became
slow,
like a hype song.
You know, now it's like, even as much as like the subject matter is very deep, I was like, it's okay for it to have a particular energy, even though it might be, you know, like heavy on the heart. Like,
some white boy on YouTube was reviewing it. Like some American dude, for some reason, was reviewing it. He's like, I don't understand the connect between. It's so hype here. But it's like, and in my head, I'm like, that's the point. Yeah, no, it's kind of like that's the point.
Because we could have easily gone through the traditional route of saying this is a set like Lil Wayne and I forgot who he was with. How to Love. That song is sad, but it's so like sad that I feel like I'll avoid that song at all costs. Not like, because it's wild, but it's like, damn, you know what I mean? But even though I'm sad, I don't want to be that sad.
So wait, you wouldn't listen to Billie Eilish?
I generally don't, only because there are times where it's fitting. Yeah. But then there are times where it's like, this is so heavy. Because for me, I think music for me is very... I'm not like one to speak words. Yeah, so music is how I
express it, and
like if I'm angry, I won't like lash out here. I'll just go and like
make an angry beat.
Listen to you know, you know what I mean.
And be a young boy or something.
Yeah, so the music takes me into the zone so much that I feel like it's nice to be happy, sad. I don't know if that makes sense. That makes sense. Oxymoron.
Be okay, like being sad, but being okay.
I'm sad, but it's not going to make me stop living life.
I love how like, you know, that's kind of like how house is kind of popping in SA and like house and like piano stuff. They'll have the saddest lyrics over like
bro.
It makes sense.
Gonna dance.
You be out there groove like
crying your heart out, but like vibing.
You know what I mean? Like
you did it.
That's a deep song.
Shout out to you guys because you guys really hit the nail on the mark. Because bro, I was listening to it on Thursday. I was walking somewhere in the stratas. I'm like, on the radio, Nohal, I'm like, what? No, like I was listening to it for the like very first time, listening to it, because I've always only heard it. Yeah. Now I was listening, I'm like, hold up. I'm sad, but so now you guys really did get it on the mark. Yeah.
And it wasn't even like a thing where we discussed, it was like a feeling. So also I feel like a good like excuse me, like understanding your, it's a, what can I say, instinctive.
Yeah.
Like there are moments where you're like,
damn, there's a lot of that.
This beat doesn't work. So also what makes a great album is
your gut.
Things can't be personal. Like Bambino makes a beat and it's not working. Yeah. I have to be able to be like,
true.
That's true.
This one doesn't smash.
It's not working.
Yeah. Flex told me, hey,
it's not working, but
come re-record that verse. It's just great, but you only because it's there.
Only because it's like the way, you know, because also a lot of people in the music industry, producers feel like, man, I'm not getting, you know, my placements or whatever. But a lot of times it's not personal. It has nothing to do with whether you're dope. I used to feel like, I'm whack because it didn't make the album. But now working on albums, I realize it's more of like, it's just not fitting either the narrative, the sonic, or you know what I mean? And that's what also, it's like trusting your intuition to know, man, I like the lyrics I did, but maybe we need to do these lyrics on a different vibe. You need to be able to trust that and say,
great story. And we're actually going to talk about a classic BW album here. Do you know that Emelo line that's on, when I say move, you move? Yeah. I should have been on that Happy Hour album, but press had to X me out like I was Malcolm.
If I wasn't good enough,
that's the conversation. If I wasn't good enough, I wasn't good enough. It was not about that. His verse was good enough. It just didn't fit. That's what Presley said. Like, it just didn't fit. Like, we were doing the album, and Melo's an amazing rapper, but like, it just didn't fit what we were trying to do. And that's it. Yeah. And don't be scared to tell your boy that you love that, hey, man,
that was sick.
That was sick, but
it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit the narrative because I'm only, you know, like the projects that are yet to come out, you know, like with other people. I won't mention them, so it's not. But it's like we had to like sit down and be like, "Ish, this song is amazing." Like we're chopping off whole songs and saying, "Ish,
The song is great, but
it's not making the project.
Yeah.
You know, where it's painful, but you're like, just because the song is nice doesn't mean it should be on the album.
Yeah.
You know what? You're saying that. I remember listening to the Jay-Z and Alicia Keys space. There's a song that they put in the album that she just dropped that was recorded about like 15 to 20 years ago because it never just fit in any of the projects that she tried to get until this album. So
the priority is the music at the end of the day. The priority is whatever the final product is. It's not about your ego. It's not about anything. The priority is how does it sound, right? How does it go? How does it go in? Like, man, that's it. How many tracks do you think about doing? Let's also talk about like duration of an album. Does that matter to you? Does that matter to you? I hate these 20-something track albums that come out now. I hate those albums.
12 or less.
Yeah, so around 12.
My question is, are you thinking 12 because 12 makes sense?
Or because it makes
objectively like, 12 makes sense. Or you feel 12. Like you can, I don't know. It's like, there's another thing of, I don't know, we're very young.
Yeah.
So not to say that we don't have a lot to say.
Yeah.
But sometimes what you have to say could be in 6 tracks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like, when we talk about duration, I feel like to me it's more about once we reach that point where you feel like you're done, stop.
You're done. Yeah.
It's done. It's complete.
Not to say put a number on it, but just say
once you feel
okay, I feel like 8 tracks is enough to like portray this particular topic at this particular time. Because even Post Malone's next album, it's gonna be short form. He's only saying that because, like, what were they saying? The management were like, you know, we had a lot of dope songs in a long form album that kind of like
they got lost.
They got lost.
Yeah,
because it's not that we don't have. Man. It's not that we have a short attention span. It's like there's only so much I can take. Like Chris Brown dropped 40 something tracks, and I could only take like 10 of them. But they were all dope. You know what I mean? They were all dope.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm taking these songs. Even Scorpion, you know?
Oh yeah.
I took like some songs. And then there are times where they swap. Where, okay, I had these 5 songs. Then maybe this year, it's a different set of 5 songs, same album. Years later. So it's like, I don't know. You have to know what works.
It goes on to your feeling as well. Besides planning, because if you decide to plan an album and say, okay, this is the theme, are we going to go just saying, okay, whatever track we get in this feeling that I'm feeling towards the album is how we're going to go? Or you're going to say, okay, I think my feelings can be projected in 12 different songs. Like I can express everything that I need to express towards this album in 12 songs, and you're short of it, then you'll go that direction.
Yeah.
So I think with the duration, it's just a matter of feeling. Do you feel like you can take it, or do you want to actually plan and say, okay, I'll go 12 tracks? Because some niggas, when they plan, by track 5, they're going to be like, hey, I think I've said enough.
Then you stop here.
Now I'm moving from an album to an EP.
But then you end up feeling like, yo, I still need like 7 more tracks because I put 12. So I feel like it's more of a feeling than it is actually planning to just say,
that's true.
Have I really expressed what I needed to express?
Yeah.
That by the time that I put this out, when everyone's listening to those 12 tracks, probably, they're going to be like, this guy's done it.
This guy,
At the end of the album, he's been, this is an album, no skip. Kind of thing.
Always questioning your motivation for anything you do, right? If your motivation is outside of making something dope, then it's wrong. If your motivation is like, for example, collaborations, I never want to just, you know who I really want to do a song with? I never do that. It's such a horrible thing to think about because you're not caring about making a great song. You think about making a moment or something weird. Like, that's a bad motivation to have.
Is it going?
You just want to put Drake on a track? Doesn't he fit there? They'll probably make you blow up a little bit. For how long? How many guys has Drake been on a feature with that we don't listen to anymore? Make whatever you think is the best form of the art that you are making.
Yeah.
With it. even if you make a movie, dog, don't just put The Rock inside. You know what I mean? Just because it's The Rock, you know?
Yeah, he's the biggest actor, you know. Like,
but there's a very high chance he's gonna fit in it though, but
he's good at what he does. He's good at what he does.
But I think that's a very beautiful point, because nowadays when people are making music, they're just like, ish, if I have a beat from Flex, then it's done, you know, that kind of thing.
That always happens a lot. Like when people are like, the way it worked with Viso Frost, it's gonna work with me.
Exactly.
And sometimes it doesn't work, and people get pissed. Like, it's not working.
This nigga didn't put it.
Like, gave me a half-ass beat.
And I've seen these tweets, but I'm like, yo, at the end of the day, not in a prideful way, but I'm always dope. Because you can see everyone I work with. It's working. So it's not working with you. Then it's not for you. You know, not to say it's your fault, but like collaboration is also a two-way
energy thing also.
It's energies. I feel like collaborations are really centered across the energy, because you can't just be there and say, oh, I'm going to put Frost on a track because the track that I'm having is going to be a bit too deep, so he's going to be the best person portrayed. Nah, if you put me and Frost in a room right now, the way we're going to vibe already sets the tone that by the time this nigga gets the mic,
it's going to just...
it's just going to gel, and I'm going to be there like, nah, I have to go after him.
I think I also give an example of like, okay, so there are different types of artists. Like, there's artists who have a template, like Yusuf, he will create something, maybe with a guitar, you know, and write to that, the thing, and then say, look, there's this feeling I've created. All you have to do is build around this feeling.
Again,
it's always more better, because I feel like the role of a producer is to
facilitate,
magnify your actual idea or vision. I'm not here to create. I mean, in most instances, I'm also there to create. So that's why there's two types of artists. There's artists you create for, and then they
just
fill in. Like the first beat I ever made for Viso, there was no like, yo, I need a beat like this. I just sent what I made naturally, and he fit. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Not too much sonic conversation about wait, must go where. You know what I mean? So I feel like, like the type of artist also determines how, you know, the collaboration will work.
Like working with Jordan, Jordan like always has like an idea to do. Always an idea. I think myself to a less extent as well. If I ask somebody to be on the song, it's never just dry. I always want to go to somebody with something, because then it's like, oh, the music, while the music was happening, then I thought of you. Not, I thought of you, let's make it happen. That's a weird way to go about it.
In the room trying to
just like
squeeze something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's important, man. That's important.
And then J. Cole doesn't do features. Oh, he didn't do features for a while. But do features matter in an album?
I think
in an album,
they matter. I hate features, by the way. With rappers, I hate features with rappers.
We'll get into this.
All right, cool.
I think it's like features do help. Okay, for me, I feel like you can't really do it alone.
Yeah.
Like, even as a producer, me working with Amo Beats, that's like an eternal feature.
Shout out Amo Beats,
you know what I mean? Shout out Amo Beats. You know, like it's like I could make the beat alone, but there's a vibe there that will make it more of even more of a vibe. You know, so it's like damn, like this would have been sick, just Flex, but I know, you know, the other producers I work with, Yolophonic, J6, shout out. It's like the collaboration just makes it better. So I feel like in the world of music, working together, and this also goes back to everyone who has ever won a Grammy, most of them, it was never one man.
Factual.
True.
Even on the writing.
Yeah.
Adele. How many people on stage when Adele wins?
Like 16.
And you want to say, I'll just do it alone. I know this is a touchy one.
Yeah.
J. Cole's first Grammy is a feature.
Yeah, it's true. A lot.
Even that album, not to say that like I had no features on the album. Yeah, but you had like a million other producers with you. You did have collaboration. You're making it seem like collaboration is such a bad thing. Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad.
Not that he's saying it's a bad thing, but he
was like trying to make himself look dope.
He was doing.
It's implied that damn, I don't need.
Because I'm guys. So, but yeah, you were gonna tell us about why you hate.
You know. Okay, just back to the collaboration thing. You know that saying about like if you stand too close to an elephant, you can't see it.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same thing with the music. Or with any creative idea. Like if you stand too close to your idea, you can only see this little bit of it. Until somebody else who's like standing over there is like, hey, look, it's a fucking elephant, bro.
Way to you, sorry.
This is a tree. You're standing by the ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't like features with rappers. I love features. I do lots of features. Like what's my most popular song, Stevie?
Well, Moralo with Hennessy.
I think Huanyape. Easily, right?
Okay, for me, Moralo is okay, but
Huanyape. Like that's the one that pops at the shows, right? He's a traditional music artist, right?
Yeah.
So I love features in that. I like a feature that adds something.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes we do another feature with another rapper. It's just the same thing.
I get what you mean.
Yeah, but unless they're a really good rapper and have a perspective that's different.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's a very important one. It's like sticking to the script or catching I call it catch the vibe, catch the flavor actually. Like where, Visa on I Want It All, he was able to tell, that's what you're talking about, so I'm going to tell you in my perspective. So not a lot of
rappers would
not even, let's not say rappers. Artists, even producers are able to say, man,
let me sink
your chords were purple, and then he decides to put drums like this, or it goes deeper into like just being able to say.
That's the thing we talk about being tactical. Some people can do the tactical thing. Like if you're like, okay, make this drum on this kind of like tempo, they can do it. But does it make sense sonically?
Exactly.
Does it fit? Yeah. Or does it go with it? Like,
I think it also goes back to my idea of music is also spiritual. Like we can say
but it is.
We're just making music, but the fact that when Adiel is playing, you feel like crying, bruh. You can't say that something is not happening.
No, music on its own is invoking.
Yeah,
so the moment you're listening to something, you know that you're activating one feeling or another. Yeah. Whether it's gonna be a happy feeling or a sad feeling, you're gonna invoke something for sure. If we're saying, okay, I'm gonna collaborate with Frost, right? The moment we're in that room and the beat is playing, I've made my verse, I've given him his space so he can make his verse. He should already be feeling something on that beat that's similar to whatever vibe I'm trying to portray. It's not just like, for me, I feel like collaborations shouldn't just be saying, I just want Frost on a track. Nah, I need that if this guy is on a track, whatever vibe we're trying to get in that track, he should be able to get it, not just being there like.
But you say this, but there's gang songs, like gang songs, even from your AKAs, your who's and who's, where you hear a song, you're like, but these guys, they forced it. This guy and this guy were never on the same energy.
There's a disconnect. You know. To be fair, like even like, I'm not. It works now because I've heard the song a lot of times, but I remember the first time I listened to Spirit, I'm like, hey dog, it sounds like Wale is over there.
Yeah.
He's like, all I'm talking about is... There was that disconnect. And that disconnect happens quite a lot with some songs.
That's true.
They're just lucky it works sometimes.
No, they are.
That was just... It really just depends on how one artist was able to still stick to it. Like in the same case with Questa and Wale, we were able to understand Questa's part that even if Wale didn't do anything that was to our potential, we are still able to say that
okay, we can still move with this.
Did can still make
also the song itself, we can run with it.
I also feel like it also goes back to like us being Africans and connecting more to the thing that we understand. Like we understand even how he's speaking, even though we might not speak the language particularly, but we get it. We get it more than Wale. Not to say that Wale didn't fit. He just didn't fit on our terms. It was like, perfect. You know, so I do get a lot of songs where it's like, I understand this feature. I don't understand this feature myself, but I get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know who I really wanted on that song, man? I really wanted Olivum to good. That's like on the one. I really wanted to do it, man. Now I'm just like in my head, I'm like, too crazy. You know, if I can get Ringo on a song, I would have worked. Because because I know like what I want to do with like the whole mashing the hip hop with like stuff that is like African identified, like that would be dope. But other than that, I think it's a bad idea to like think about the feature before you think about what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
It should be in the like I was saying earlier. It should already like after you've made the song.
Oh yeah,
good fit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Usually when like if I get a feature, I don't like asking people for features. Usually there'll be like if I meet with other artists or for somewhere, it'll be like a jam session. Everybody's playing their music, and I'll play like something unreleased, and I'll wait for somebody to be like, "Oh, that's cool. Is there like a slot on that or something?"
Yeah.
And then I'll assess if like, okay, this nigga that just asked me, is he like actually gonna work? But I just want it to be for the featuring artist experience to say I want it to be on that.
Yeah, I get you. But then you know that the motivation is like genuine. Right? Yo, listen, Flex, we need to go to SA and just travel around with like that. What's it called? The eye drop. And then when he's like, "Hey, I love this shit. Yeah, you love it? Let's jump in right now."
Let's go. Yeah.
I think, another question is, like, what are your let's say top 3 albums that inspire you? Not top 3 like in terms of these are top 3.
Yeah.
But like favorites.
Top 3 in terms of like they've changed your life. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does make sense.
Ish.
I'm gonna let Stevie go first because
I feel like that's the real top 5.
You say 3.
Yeah.
No, just albums in general.
In general.
I'm gonna start with maybe MT's Avery.
Alright.
Because that one was like, yo, for me personally, I was like, yo, because I related to every...
Connected.
Yeah, like every single song, I was like, yo, guy.
Do you think it's like the whole... just asking you, sorry, not to cut you off.
Yeah.
Like, do you think it's your whole vibe of like, you know, like we love hip-hop, but we're in the kasi? Like where you like, I know my hood, but I'm also like a hip-hop dude. Like, because I've had that thing of like, yo, checky all the time. But also living like...
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean?
Maybe it could come from that.
It's close to home.
But also the songs themselves, like... It is songs that like really, really hit home. And then the way the album was like produced, you know, Ambitious has that sauce of making an album. So there's that. And then there's what other album? Flip. Maybe Casper in Your Vests, Tolofelo. And this is, even that. That for me was like, this guy, even what he was,
that album,
you could, very much,
he rocked,
very much. And then if I'm gonna choose an album locally just for you, I'd say maybe Scar's Happy Hour, and that's mainly because of how big an album it is. It's monumental in terms of BW hip hop, and
that's probably still #1 hip hop album as the whole thing of locally. Like it's just crazy. From top to bottom is just crazy.
No misses.
That nigga can perform like a throwaway song from that album, and it's still like on stage. It just slaps. Like Psycho is not even like top 4 of those songs, but when he says it's a Psycho, the place just goes fucking crazy.
But maybe also Eminem's Recovery. If I'm gonna give you one other one,
extra.
So there's the 3.
All right. What about you?
I'm a lot of my influences are Western, so I'm gonna have to go with I think #1 I'm gonna have to go with Smino, Black Swan. I think that album, I heard it and it changed my whole perspective on music. I never even knew music sounded like that at the time. So that's a definite.
That's it.
I've never heard. And then secondly, Mac Miller's Swimming. Mac Miller's Swimming for me, album also. Just, I think for me, a good experience is when you get introduced to a new sound. And these albums did that to me. I never knew that there was this fusion of bass and jazz like this. And I never knew there was like, And then locally, I'll go with Nicky Diamonds. I'm gonna have to go with his album.
Nicky Diamond for real.
Shout out Nicky Diamond. Shout out Nicky Diamond. Yeah. That's my top 3. If I was putting it like that, I think.
Bar is high, though. Mentioned Smino, I'm just there like damn. He's going the right direction.
That's how I feel.
Shit.
Yeah. The Morning Story, Swimming, and Black Swan. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I think with me, Chicks Take 5.
Ooh,
#1.
That's a good one.
Because Tory, I'm a Tory fan. I've been getting every album that's been out there. I just feel like Chixtape 5 had a different perspective where I was just there like, hey,
even the production on that.
Just from
he
track 1
he decided
to the last track. He knew what he was doing with the whole story. So it was just a thing of, hey, okay, all right, you managed to execute this way. Album 2, I'll go with Swimming as well. Mac Miller, that album was just like his best for me.
Yeah.
For me, anyway. Then locally, the name is not there, but it's by Wanda. It's the album that had Space Coupe. Gunward?
Gunward, yeah. Gunward. With the orange cover, ne? Yeah.
Gunward for me, that one. I felt like that was where I could see an artist from Bots take up the whole space of R&B in his own way, where when you listen to it, you're just like, this is his sound. You can't argue and say that he's copying someone. You're just like, nah, Wonder is Wonder. So that project really hit home for me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Alright, mine are gonna be Western, aren't they?
No album by you, by the way.
Because it's obvious. When you're the one.
But yeah, alright, cool. I'll try to quantify all of them with like some sort of like answer.
Yeah.
Probably the first album I listened to, like top to bottom, I was like, oh, this is great. I understand it's Thriller by Michael Jackson. I think actually that album is crazy. And then the attention to detail with all of the production in between, or how, it still had that thing that they do in jazz where there was so many different patterns. Like hip hop is lazy, dog. We just have, this is the beginning, this is what the chorus is, then the verse sounds like this, and those are the only 3 patterns we're gonna have in the whole track. Them niggas changed it up the whole way through. The songs was great. And then number 2 will be Eminem Infinite. Not because I think it's an amazing album, but just because like I appreciated the writing. Yeah. So from Thriller, I got like the mass production worldwide. Let's here. This is a big deal kind of thing.
Yeah, we're going all the way.
Eminem, then I got from Infinite was like, yo man, step your pen up, like just write. Like the writing is crazy on that album. It's so crazy. I don't think it's from 1996. I think it sold like 1,000 copies when it came out, but it's the best writing he's ever done in his life, and he's never got there again. Then the third one, because I was struggling at that time to like find my space in terms of like, okay, but how am I going to apply what I feel is Good Kid, Mad City. Just because I was like, it was right before I started putting out music. I was like, oh, okay. This is in line with what I feel like hip hop should be done, where it's like, all right, the infinite rapping with like this is mass production worldwide, we out here kind of vibes. Yeah. How do you make those 2 things connect? I heard Good Kid, Mad City. I'm like, fuck this guy.
It's crazy. He's going crazy.
It's going,
Every time I'm in the street, I hear
That's mad.
Yeah, yo, do you remember the first time you listened to that album from track 1 to the end?
I actually don't, because the only thing I remember about that first time was that I remember every time I'm in it. That's the song that stayed. Yeah. So with a lot of Kendrick albums, they only made sense
later.
After.
That's another thing we should talk about, actually. Good albums mature.
True.
Good albums mature. Like, you're there 5 years later, you're like, yep. Still the one. You might have even missed something. True. Like when you listen to it the first time. Then later on, you're just like, yo, you know what? This thing is, I just have a different experience with this. Which is why people love Jay-Z a lot, because his album's kind of mature. The earlier ones, you come back years later and you're like,
this is actually good.
Because I think on my list, it's a tie between Damn and To Pimp a Butterfly. I put them together.
Yeah.
So that'll be one album. Yeah. Then the second one would be WizKid, Made in Lagos. Because it's the first time an African project where I'm like, you can't touch.
Which one is Made in Lagos? The latest. You want to make a ginger, give me the kokoro.
I'm like, you can't touch this guy. You can't. Straight up. And it's even the mix, the production, to me, like,
I love that album, man.
Right now, it's the best album to ever come out.
It's still, I think it was number 1 on...
Right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because you know what? It's like the thing where it's like, it's concise and it's cohesive.
Everything is...
One thing I used to always say is like, why do none of these Niger dudes who are doing this patois speaking thing never talk to like Jamaicans and like whatever and do a track? Then he did a track with Damien Maya. I'm like, oh, this nigga understands. He knows. This nigga knows.
He knows the vibes.
Yeah, that's a great album.
Yeah.
And then your third?
My third would be, I'd put J. Cole Forest Hill Drive.
You know, I was thinking
because it's the only album where I'm like, I can play this album
every day.
Not every day,
the whole day,
but like I can listen to it and not feel like, I don't know. You know when you listen to albums and then you feel like you're skipping this song, skipping that song. I don't feel like doing that with that particular project. And then the local honorable mention is Tito's. Is it something I said? Because to me, it's also like watching my friends make music that I'd put at that high level where I'm like, these are my friends, but like, yo, that's crazy. You know what I mean? To me, I still get shocked. Like it's at a level where I don't even feel like I need to be a part of it. It's like, it's nice to just watch. It's crazy. So that's an honorable mention.
You know, here's a funny story, right? I knew Titosi before like she ever put music out. I knew Amo Beats before he ever put music out. I used to go to the same church as Amo Beats. And I remember we once went to his house and he was like, yeah, I make beats. I'm like, yeah, that's dope, I rap. And we never said anything about it afterwards, right? And then just to come back years later, and here we are, we made a project all together. Titosi, we were at a house party. I'm not going to tell you what's happening. She was there, I was there, and I was like, I salute what you're doing. It was great, but yeah, man. Yeah, this album is great, man.
It's great.
Yeah, it's great.
It's also like, I think, arguably the biggest project come out of Botswana.
Because streams are crazy.
True.
The numbers are crazy. Not arguably,
I'd have to debate you. You know,
I mean, numbers
wise, not
which numbers I'm talking about.
Like streams.
Oh, in terms of streams, for sure. In terms of like just like numbers,
hey
man,
go on.
those early V's. Those early V albums. Come on, V sold like 60K in CDs, and that's not counting everything else that happens afterwards. You know. 60K CDs back then meant somebody's gonna
even now
gonna rip it and then they're gonna burn it and another 50,000 niggas gonna listen to it.
I think I also say it in the sense that like it's not just Botswana that's listening; it's the world.
Fair enough. Which is crazy.
I mean, we can say with V that not to take away. It was Botswana. Botswana was champion.
And Botswana,
so that's what makes it.
Even up there, dog. They used to go up there.
They used to go
to
Congo.
So now it's like this is the first time where it's like, yo, this thing is big. And it's also big
outside.
It's very big.
You can go there and do it. So that's why I say that, because
I wouldn't be shocked. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if like in the next maybe 3 to 5 years she's like Sampan performing on Coachella.
Yeah, definitely.
But this is us cutting out the conversation. Mr. Man says it's time. So, But it was Tabz, I tell you this every single time. Nobody ever wants to leave, bruh. Let's just get the conversation going.
Since you're seeing this right now, that must mean that you finished watching the whole episode. So thank you for watching and congratulations, because that must mean that you're a really cool person. Since you're so cool, I want you to leave a comment below saying good night. People who weren't cool enough to finish the video will look in the comments and be very confused as to why people are commenting good night. But since you're so cool, you actually understand why, so it's a joke on them. Please like and subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you'd want us to discuss next. We do check the comments, or let us know who you want on the panel. We don't discriminate. So yeah, thank you for watching and I'll see you on the next episode. Yeah.